My name is Leanne Kabat, and I am living in Seattle, which is on the west coast of the US.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory TV and the Herstory podcast. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Wellington, New Zealand. Today, I'm graced with the presence of yet another fascinating lady coming to us from the US. Welcome to our platform. Welcome to the tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Leanne Kabat, and I am living in Seattle, which is on the west coast of the US. I'm originally a Toronto girl, so I'm Canadian through and through. And, I have an interesting story that might help some people in your audience. So I just wanted to share that today. I hope that's okay. I moved to the US 14 and a half years ago. My husband was transferred for his job. I had two small children and I was pregnant with baby number 3. And my husband needed to travel for work. So I was alone with the babies. And we went to bed one night. It was very late when I woke up to go to the bathroom, as pregnant women do. I was 5 months pregnant at the time. And immediately when I stood up, I collapsed on the floor and I fell on my baby, on my belly, and I was frozen for 5 hours. I couldn't move. I couldn't cry. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do anything. And so I lay there feeling all the feelings, right? I begged the universe to let me move. I was angry that the universe, was keeping me on the floor. I was terrified my children would wake up and see me, frozen on the floor beside them. And all through it, I worried about the baby in my belly, right? Like what was going on here in my body? My brain wasn't working. What was it doing to the baby? At about 7 a.m, I was able to move. I had this huge, hot flooding of temperature through my body. Everything started to spin, but I could get up. So I got up, I got dressed, I woke up my 2 toddlers, put them in the van, and I found the nearest hospital and I drove there because we had just moved to this new city. I didn't even know where the hospital was located. And when we got there, it set off this journey of examining what had happened to me and what was continuing to happen. The baby was born in July and he was healthy, thank God. But I continued to get sicker. And in November of that year, which was 8 months later, they called me back into the hospital and they said they didn't know what I had, but they knew it was going to kill me. And they gave me 5 years to live. So at that time, I had a 4-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old baby, and I could not imagine dying and leaving these children with no mom. And for the first few years, I was busy dying. I was taking thousands of pictures. I was writing them love notes. I was organizing their rooms and doing all the things I wished I could do for them. And then one day, somebody came to visit and she just really opened my eyes. She said, when you're not here, Leanne, don't worry. I'll step in. I'll raise the kids. And I thought, wait, they're my children. These are my children. I want to raise them. I shouldn't have to die. I should live. And so I decided to fight for my life. And I invested in self-care. I slept when I was tired. I ate very healthy food. I decided I was not going to cook and clean and run around like a crazy person. I was going to be with my children and I was going to get healthy. And that's all I focused on. And I am now at 15 years past the first brain crash. I have 3 teenagers who I love so very much. And every day has been an absolute honor living this life, knowing I still have this brain disease and choosing every day, how do I want to show up? How do I want to be in this life? What are the dreams that I want to pursue? And what are the things I can do right now to make those dreams come true? Because tomorrow isn't promised, 10 years isn't promised, but I have today. And so it's changed my life and my philosophy completely.
Wow, what an amazing story. That's just incredible what happens when we make a choice what direction our lives can take.
Right.
So if you were to go back to that younger woman who has given this diagnosis, started to die because you were told you were going to die, and give her advice, let's say there's somebody who's tuned in and listening right now,
Mhm.
what three pieces of advice would you give her?
I
What would
would
you have wanted somebody to say to you at that
mm,
moment in time?
I would want someone to have said to me, "You are brave. You have gotten through everything you've ever been faced with in your life, and you have come out stronger and fiercer and more powerful than you ever thought you could be. Find her. Find her inside of you. Find the fighter inside of you. Don't give up." I wasted 3 years just thinking, is today the day I die? Is today the day that the headache takes me down? Is it today? I wasted so much time being afraid, and I am a brave fighter, and I had forgotten that. So that would be the very first thing. The second thing I would say to that woman, to myself and anyone else, is focus on what matters. Driving a fancy car, having the perfect roses, wearing the best clothes, none of that matters. What matters is what matters to you. That's what matters. So if it's your children, if it's your legacy, if it's financial freedom for your parents or your community, that's what you focus on. Don't let somebody else determine your value in life. And then I'd say the third thing that I would think of is your life, however deep, however long, however it is here for you, right? So how can you use your life to grow? And how can you use your life to uncover who you really are so you can put that into the world while you can? We all have gifts, and if we're so busy denying our truth or hiding who we really are, we aren't really living, right? We're just existing under this mask of things. So I would really just say, put down those layers of, what you think it should be and who you think you should be, and say, this is me. I am here. I want to find out my potential. What does that look like in everything I do? How can I reach my best potential? And then let me be brave to chase that.
Oh, wow. What I love about your story is you have really harnessed every challenge, everything you've gone through. You're now helping other people to overcome these challenges, to reframe how you take in that negative information and make decisions on how to take control of your own life. Let's
Right.
talk a little bit about how you're helping people right now.
Yeah. So through this process, as you can imagine, I faced many dark nights of the soul, right? Like many
Yeah.
nights that I just did not think I was going to make it through okay. And I decided this wasn't a way to live. So I happen to live in a part of the country and a part of the world where we have 4 seasons. And I started noticing the seasons a little bit more intentionally. And winter was a time of cold, harsh, bitter winds, right? Spring was a time where new plants were growing and we could plant new things, the things we wanted to nurture.
Mm.
And summer is the best it could be. Like we were happy in summer when it's shining and warm and everyone was laughing. And fall is a signal that winter is on its way and things are starting to shut down again. And I noticed that was my emotional state, right? When
Mm.
I was in winter, I was fighting with my kids. I was angry at God. I was unhappy with the universe, right? I was really miserable. So what could I plant? How could I spring clean my life to take out the things that I didn't want and put more of the things I did want to get to summer, right? Like that was the idea. And I felt like the seasons were missing something. So I created the fifth season, which I call the crossroads. And at the crossroads, you stand there and you get to choose in this moment. Will I go back to winter? Will I fight? Will I be defensive? Will I attack other people or be angry at the world? Or can I choose differently? Can I choose forgiveness? Can I choose compassion? Can I choose love? Right? I get to choose what the outcome of everything is. So if it's fighting with my kids, or, a client tells me that I didn't do a good job, or any of the hundreds of things we experience in our life, I get to choose the outcome based on how I feel. And I always want to choose summer, right? So even if that means I bite my tongue, even if that means I forgive someone who really might not even deserve it or doesn't even care, I choose summer for me because at every moment, that's where I want to be. So I live in this space of conscious, intentional choice to see the world the way I want to see the world, which is really a place filled with love and people who are hurting. So how can I support them through their hurt?
Wow. I do like to choose summer. You know, right now, a lot of people are suffering, Leanne.
Yeah.
COVID has impacted us in ways that, yeah, humanity will never be the same again.
Mm-mm.
I lost my father in 2018. And then during COVID, on the 30th of March, I lost my mother-in-law in Poland. 3 weeks later, my mother died in Zimbabwe. So in a space of like 2-3 years, so much sadness and tragedy and loss.
Yes.
And I would say that it has been my winter season. I even lost my first grandchild as well. My daughter got pregnant and had a miscarriage soon after, and we had already started to celebrate. I started knitting little jerseys and booties, and I remember my mom coming to me in a dream. I was so depressed last year. And in this dream, I was brushing my teeth and I spat and looked up into the mirror, and she was in the mirror looking back at me. And she said to me, she was laughing in a really funny way, because the day of her funeral, I was so depressed. I shaved off all my hair. I was completely bald. And she comes to me in this dream, and I look like my mom now more than ever because my hair was short at the time. And she's in the mirror just laughing hysterically, laughing at me, but very joyful and lighthearted. And she said, you see, that's why I made you look like me. So that you can always remember, I haven't gone anywhere. I am in you. I am with you. You need to wake up, baby. You need to live. So long as you're this side of the grave, stopping is not an option. And that got me up. And I just took back control and chose summer, like you said. And it started in small ways. Yeah. It started with my just opening my eyes in the morning and being grateful that I could see.
Yes.
It started with my standing in the shower and feeling the water on my body and being grateful I could stand in the shower. I had clean drinking water. It started with very small acts of gratitude.
Totally.
And then summer came, and, this is a year later. I celebrate my mother's life every single day. And there's a lot of people hurting right now, needing these kind of tools to get through a very difficult time. So if I can take you into your future as the last question for this interview, and we could imagine that time was an illusion, and you're now 120, because you're going to live to 120 with your attitude and science. I can see you sitting in a rocking chair, looking at your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. If you could have a conversation with the older you, based on how you have lived your life, what would you say to her?
I would say to her, I would say thank you. I would say thank you for making the choices to choose you. You know, I would say thank you for putting you first when you were hurting. And it's easy to serve other people.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost in, oh, I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good person in my church. It's harder to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
It's harder to say, I'm worth it. I deserve sleep, or I deserve rest, or I deserve peace. I deserve forgiveness, or I deserve anything that I need to make it through this life. I would thank myself for choosing me in these really hard times, because you're right. There are so many things to be grateful for, even when we're at the bottom of the darkest winter storm. And we can't actually stop winter from coming.
No.
You know, after the loss of your father, you didn't see that your mother-in-law and your mother would both be, you know, passing on. You thought, oh my gosh, winter is here, and you were working through it, and winter came again, right? With COVID, we are seeing it over and over. Winter keeps coming, but we have to keep choosing. What is the path to summer? Is that gratitude today? Yes, it is, right? What can I be grateful for? Is it love? That might mean playing on the floor with your child. That might be writing a letter to somebody who you miss. That might be making a phone call or giving somebody a word of encouragement, right? What is it today that can be the spring cleaning to bring you back to summer? It's a journey. Like, there is no end to this. The weather doesn't stop. Winter doesn't stop, but summer doesn't stop either.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's the crossroads, is keep choosing summer. Keep choosing your peace and joy above all things.
Wow. What a powerful way to end this interview. I feel so blessed to have met you, and so blessed to be reminded. Wonderful.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm just so honored to be in your presence.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. So take these words of advice. If you're in that hard place right now, the choice is yours, whether you stay in winter or whether you choose summer. The choice is always yours. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. This is Gertrude Macha here in beautiful Wellington, New Zealand. I will see you again tomorrow with yet another amazing guest. Bye for now, and thank you, Leanne.